Alright, y'all. I had a few things to do, but I was gonna get back to it, and I was talking about my rant about the Hunger Games. So just simply solely for the purpose of people that may have went through things they could not understand or explain or couldn't articulate without appearing to be absolutely out of their mind. But I was speaking on how I had moved to this certain place, right? And I couldn't afford a Christmas tree because little stuff that was going on. I think this was right before COVID or whatever hit, and I had I've always been creative, so it was one of the things I was like, regardless if I'm feeling up to it or if I don't celebrate certain holidays anymore, it's due to them always causing some type of you know strange events in my life. It was like every birthday, every Christmas, certain holidays, either, my money was played with, stuff was funny, certain things would happen. Um, I just started telling myself, don't put so much into this because it became so stressful that I was like, forget the holidays. And it was crazy because I think was it 3 years? This when I actually came. It was after my great grandmother had passed. I believe she had passed in '84, Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. But it was always something, within my own family that was kind of hard to like celebrate. And, even though it was picked back up, certain times just for me, it just wasn't it. Nothing was clicking, nothing was going right. But anyway, I had decided to make a tree out of construction paper, and I had put it on the wall. And I knew it was something that people would come over and maybe mock and make fun of, um, secretly. But it turned out real cute. I did the little branch and everything, tried to make it a little tree skirt. And the only thing that mattered is my son was younger. He didn't really, he was just appreciative of the gifts that he did have, and that's why I know I'm so grateful and blessed to have him because he experienced so much with me during the time of me just trying to figure everything out. And um, I was actually scrolling earlier, and they selling this now. It's like a not Velcro, or I don't know what that is called, but it's like it's literally like a fabric tree. It's just you put it on the wall, and there's little Velcro ornaments and stuff. And I was like, well, that's crazy. I was like, my idea literally probably struck somewhere, but I was speaking on it because these are certain things that take place. Some people that mock you or criticize something that you could be doing at the time, those are the same people that actually steal those ideas, or they'll go off and do them with someone else, or they'll take your energy or whatever. As long as you don't accomplish them, they have like the face of the family or certain people that they want to actually pass torches to. And I was just thinking about it because I'm like, for a while, places that I was, like when things were going good, certain people would show up, um, just to see, maybe what I was doing, how I was doing it. Everybody already knows what I've experienced. I think this is why, as far as the circle that I ended up back in the same place in same town and city, to complete these cycles in my life because I'm still talking about things that I talked about right before I left. And it was just a time where I'm like, you know finally I'm starting to have some type of breakthrough in life where I'm starting to go and do what I want to do and be able to be comfortable and have a beautiful home for my child. And it's like every time that I would come up in a certain level of position in my life, I was still around those that I didn't know didn't want that to happen. And, I don't say it to keep, bringing things up because, like I said, I release people, I nothing people. Um, I don't believe in when you remove yourself from people's lives or they remove their life from you, but still secretly be in the background some type of way. I don't, condone actually going off into some of the things that some of these people have done. Um, I don't wish people harm. I allow God to do everything in my life, whether they believe it or not. And that's why I really don't trip when certain things happen. But it's just the things that have taken place that allow me to grow into the maturity and the wisdom that I do hold, I won't be forced into being around, certain people, places, or things that I don't want to. And, that is my divine right. That is something that I've chose to accept within myself, because I can only love somebody so much. I can only, pray for somebody so much. And when you start to put it all together and you actually praying for those that are praying on you, you realize that prayer should come, it goes out the window. And you start, speaking and commanding some type of spiritual justice and divine intervention in your life. Like, it doesn't matter what people believe. It really doesn't. I came far enough to know, I'm going to be me. I'm going to, still go and experience things. And, whether I choose to be around people or not, that's just on me and my decision, but I've chosen not to. I don't want no parts. Once I, recognize, the wicked workings of the underlining, the civil lining, and certain things is going like, man, no, let me be. Let me be. I don't want to kumbaya, sit around, eat marshmallows. I don't want to exchange gifts. I don't want to talk about what it is we could do to be better together as a whole, a unit, a family. That just is not what I want to do anymore. Because when I did try to do it, it just wasn't, it wasn't accepted. The feelings that I had at the time wasn't reciprocated. And it was only because, what I had and what I was, working towards. And it's like every time, whether it was music, going to school, writing, anything having to do with my talents, anything that I did was always an issue with certain people that I was around. And I couldn't understand it. I just couldn't, and I actually, experienced, I would have like different things happening with my accounts, my phones, devices being hacked, and trying to go to school and figure out why, allegedly or supposedly the school that I was actually attending was taking the financial aid, and I wasn't receiving my financial aid checks, and, actually going to jobs and certain positions, and then, realizing that I was either being paid the wrong amount, or extra money was coming out of my checks, or my identification and stuff was still being used when I wasn't around. And then, here recently I found out that the last apartment that I actually left when I, got locked up for that false charge, I was still legally on paper in this place until like a year and a half later. So I don't know if, someone was actually staying in that home. I don't know what they were doing with, things that was in the home. I don't have any idea what was taking place in that home after October 24th, 2020. Because when I left, I didn't look back. And for them to actually, I think it was August. I think they actually put it on paper that I had moved out August 2021. And I'm like, huh, y'all, so who was actually living here when I was gone? Ain't no telling what was taking place in that apartment, you know what I'm saying? And then to know how weird people are and shit, what whether they was doing stuff with actual items, or pretending to be me, or what, like, it doesn't matter anymore. Like I said, I don't want reconciliation. I don't want to, sit around a table of people that I don't no longer consider family. Family doesn't do what I've experienced. Family doesn't make false accusations. Secretly take payments, stalk, harass, hack. Everybody's. What I don't get is like everybody's like, you know, weird acting, because I know like the whole depth of it, and how with how deep. Um, but I don't feel no way. I choose to go on my journey of healing for real. And if people are able to recognize that, they know real, recognize real. Healing for real means, you know, receiving this information, and knowing the truth, but yet I don't choose to take things into my own hands. And I was actually thinking about it earlier, because I'm like, you know, I know for a fact they couldn't walk in my shoes. Couldn't anything that I've experienced be experienced by, someone else that's around me. I mean, they would have been and folded, been and tapped out, been and quit, been accepted payments on their own if that was me. So maybe I have to look at it that way. I have to change my perspective on why certain people did what they did. But it just means that I don't want to deal with you because I know. And it just goes back to, even, the prosecutor and the judge, that was over that case. They knew that case was meant to be thrown out. They knew that the paperwork wasn't right. They knew that, certain things was going on that wasn't. That's why I know, the ultimate goal is to capture the big fish. Ex-family, friends, and stuff like that. They're not even the target when it comes to, what is going to take place for certain people that have participated in crimes. And they call it hate crimes. They call it crimes against humanity. But it's I mean, it goes further than that when you start doing things spiritually. There was no reason that someone should have took it upon themselves to sit back and say, hey, this person is the one, and that's the one that we're going to see if they can, take the absolute most. And simply because I'm surviving and I'm speaking out about it, that now people want to, try to say, hey, I want to explain to you what happened, and I don't need no explanation. That's one thing about believing in God, trusting in God, and coming into yourself, because you won't need explanation. I don't need explanation. I don't need to know why anybody did anything. And I get so much confirmation, within my sleep, that I know now that, my goal right now is just to focus on self, putting them certain pieces back together that I lent out, since I broke through the first water. But I was thinking about that because I'm like, it's just crazy that, I was going through a lot of, different issues, but financially, for me, I always used to say, man, I'm too talented to be broke. I got too much in me to be broke. And then I have, come across certain people, and I'm not saying that they wasn't shit or they ain't got nothing going, but, as soon as somebody leave or fly away from me or flee from me, they seem to be doing all right. And I'm like, what's really going on? Or I'll come and, that's what I was doing. One of my faults was always, announcing something before it's actually through, because I'll go and I'll speak on something that I'm doing, and next thing I know, you always got the ones that be like, oh, well, I know this person that does that, so are you saying they do it better than me, or are you just saying that they do it? Or you got the ones that'll be like, yeah, okay, well, I don't think you should do that. Or you got the ones that, you know, they'll run off and end up doing what you was gonna do. But I'm just like, at this point, it's not meant for me to actually explain anything no more, because we see how everything's going. Um, and it's sad because I think people always talk about sacrifice, but you know, it's the living sacrifice, because everything changes. Your eyes become open to what's really around you. You don't see things the same. You actually see them how they are. You feel everything. You can't eat what you used to eat without feeling some type of way. You can't drink or try to, drug or do anything to try to, alter how you feel, because regardless, even if you do those things, you still gonna feel and know the truth. Like, and that's why I'm like, yeah, it's just what it is. There's no need to try to figure it out when you know. But I don't know why I keep on. I was drinking some lemonade. But yeah, but other than that, man, life is amazing. Just being able to accept yourself even after what you've been through. And that's why, it goes further than, you know, someone's neurological issues, because it's so much connected to the spiritual realm. Unless somebody actually tap into who they are, then they're not going to have the same, you know, understanding, overstanding, all the standings of, you know, maybe why you are the way you are, because they haven't even reached their fullest potential, or they haven't reached their maximum, you know, self, or they haven't, you know, accepted their truth or healed from what they've experienced. They just know that for the longest time it was easier to just find ways and find outlets and find other channels and other ways to receive, uh, you know, what they believe to be abundance. And that's how I know, you know, some of these people, their God is money. Their God is money.